Hello there. Lads, I'm in the home of the All-Ireland champions. Hello there. Lads, pretend we're in Croke Park. It's in the All-Ireland final. Hello there. That's a bit better. Good evening, welcome. This is a very special night for us in the Irish Examiner. A bit of history being made. Dalo's Hurling Show Live. First ever live version of the podcast. And where better for us to start our journey this summer than in the home of the All-Ireland champions, Limerick, in the Castletroy Hotel. Now, the championship means so much to so many people in so many different ways. You're confident, you're concerned, you're optimistic, you're pessimistic, you're hopeful, you're worried. There's so much, and that's, I think, what makes the championship so special. So before we get into our conversation on Championship 2022, hard to believe, a championship that's starting on Easter Sunday, we're going to set the scene, a little appetite of what makes the Munster Championship and the All-Ireland Championship so special. So let's take a look at the screens here behind me.
I think TJ had a bit of a tumble there. He was wired up by the bit of work that won the line ball, and he didn't allow for the greasy conditions. He should have had his long studs on, I think, but you can definitely see he's pumped up for it anyway.
Here we go. Oof. I think the East German judge would probably have given him 6 out of 10 for that. Artistic merit.
Welcome back to Leeside, Liam McCarthy. We've missed you a lot.
This is one of the great speech makers, I can tell you, Mark Landers. It could be here for about an hour.
Oogdran come and look at skin. Oogdran the heron. Dano Solom and Concha Glocka. Her son and Ferret Kalia. Imokili. August Turkeg.
It's been an awesome performance by Jason Ford. A brilliant performance by Tipperary. And the Tipperary supporters who love their hurling give their team a warm round of applause. We've had 2 spectacular goals by Jake Morris in the 3rd minute, John Bubbles on the wire in the 19th. Liam Sheedy, look at him, look at the intensity. It's as if he's hitting every ball, picking up every slither. He's giving his team a round of applause. That's management, that's intensity, that's pressure, and that is a man that is also on fire.
Every Clare, man, woman and child came to Cork this weekend on a mission. Our mission was to show that we're no longer the whipping boys of Munster.
Is that getting you in the mood? Okay, now, before we get started, the great thing with this is it's interactive. Okay, the lads, as you've all been listening to over the last couple of seasons, have been wowing audiences on the podcast. But I'm sure there's lots of you at home that are shouting at Alexa or into the phone or however you're listening to your podcast with your own viewpoint. Well, tonight you have the chance to share that viewpoint with our guests. So we'll have a radio microphone. I'll be wandering around. If you have any questions or if there's anything that you'd like to share with the panel, just pop your hand up and we'll come over to. Keep it clean though, because it's before the watershed. All right. Okay, let's get some guests out tonight. We're going to start with the Energizer Bunny himself, legendary Tipperary All-Ireland winning manager. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm Limerick welcome for Liam Sheedy. Okay. Next up, a man who's never short of a word. He's never short of a good horse tip as well. 1999 All-Ireland winning captain from Killa, Mark Landers. Next up, something of a hometown hero, played for the county, managed the county. I'm surprised there isn't a statue for him in Gary Spillane. Who else but the legend of Limerick, that is TJ Ryan. And last, but by no means least, the host with the most, the king of Clare Castle, the man that captained Clare to All-Ireland glory in 1995 and 1997, Anthony Daly. I'd say that's the loudest applause a Clare man has ever gotten, Limerick.
No, they did a big long applause after Kieran Carey got the point in 96. All the way out to the bus and everything else. Yeah.
Okay. Guys, the stage is yours for the next 90 minutes or so. As we said, and I'd like you to, we'll say, reinforce the point, Dalo. This is a road show. We're out in public. We've taken you, released you from captivity, and we'd love to hear the audience as much as we'd love to hear you guys as well over the course of the night.
Yeah, thanks, Colm. Yeah, that's it, lads. We are conscious that we stop recording there on a Monday morning, and believe me, it has to be recorded as well because a lot has to be taken out. The man in the middle there is usually responsible, but the examiners, barristers are going through it like that. Can't leave that in. What time is you're on Twitter then? What time is the podcast going out? Around 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock and Dirty Larry. It's gone up the ladder. But what we'd love is for you to, and I just said to the three boys inside there at the back, in the green room, where we had the snaky bottles, I said, the crowd here tonight are going to know more about what's the makeup of these teams for the weekend than we do. So thanks so much, Colm, for the great entry. Couldn't find any action clips of us playing, so your man is clapping them down. How did that turn out, that match, lads? Do you remember? Did you make changes at half-time that day?
Good start, yeah.
The other lad is singing one of the worst speeches that God ever invented in Croke Park. I come back to Lisa.
No goals, Dalo.
No goals.
No goals, Ken.
And they all said Cork couldn't win All Irelands in the rain. Fair play. And the other lad over winning a sideline ball against Dublin. Now, obviously, the fortunes of Dublin hurling had come up a long way at that stage. So
We lost the match, Dalo. It was even worse.
you bet, Jesus, who was over Dublin?
Jack Cunningham.
Jesus. That was low stuff.
He didn't win too many matches, so he didn't.
No, so look, we're delighted. It's great to see such a crowd, lads. It just goes to show the appetite that there is for the build-up to the weekend. Now, little did we think, I suppose, that we'd be talking about being here on the Tuesday night before Easter Sunday, wondering, tis for our era playing Easter Sunday was for maybe the second last round of the league and a bit of bonding maybe that evening. I remember asking Lucknan for a bus and money one Easter Sunday because we were obviously all off for the Monday. And where are you going? He says, we're after losing against Offaly and things were bad. It was around 98 or 9. I said, we're going to go up the coast and we try and see will we level at that after the
There
night.
was a time in the 90s even there where the first half of the league was before Christmas. Do you remember that? And then we take 2 or 3 months off, put on 2 stone, go back training. Do you remember that? No.
Jesus, I tell you, I remember Lynn Gaynor had taken over Clare and we went down to play Wexford in New Ross.
Before Christmas?
Before Christmas, oh yeah. The last match before Christmas, well, we had 2 rounds played. It was 3 before Christmas. And we were afraid to kind of say we weren't coming home, but we had 2 days taken off work. Myself and this lad, Mikey from Crusheen, we'd won a Harty together. We were young enough. And we went up, coming into Waterford City on the way back from New Ross. Went up, Lynn. He said, okay, and I wasn't too happy. Wexford after beating us. Stopped the bus. I said, myself and Mikey are getting out. So, yeah, they were the good old days of the league before Christmas and all that. But it's weird. That's what we wanted to start with. I wanted to throw it out. I think Roy Curtis, the great Roy Curtis of the Sunday World fame, put up a tweet today lamenting the fact that no September All-Ireland, no certain things missing, and we play All-Irelands in July, and the split season. It's so weird for us. 2 weeks, 1 week and 2 days since the league final, and we're here. And is it working, Mark? Are you happy?
Yeah, sure. I suppose after the league performance last Saturday night, I suppose you'd be kind of half worried and disappointed. And I suppose we'd previously said in the podcast that, you know, if we got to the league final and we were beaten, I think we'd have a major concern, because when the All-Ireland champions are coming to town and you're after getting beaten by 30 points previously, it's a big ask when the team is probably on a little bit of a down after the league final. But I suppose, look, it's a championship match. It's at home. Like, I suppose the big talk is obviously all the fake rumours that are coming out of Limerick at the moment with all the injuries, and they're going bad, and you know, there's probably a lot of mutiny and all this kind of stuff. Like, but we're kind of used to those kind of stories. Like, well, they'll probably good. There's a good chance they'll have a few of them after Sunday. So, you know, it's fairly likely. I'd say John Keenan, I think, is on the whistle. So
John'll be fine.
You know, he's sorted, is he?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you know yourself now.
Johnny Murphy's going to Wildcards.
Oh,
We won't
Johnny Liam. Last time Johnny Murphy refereed in Waterford, Mark, McGrath's watched the good bit of the game from the sideline. Like,
They did. They did a bit of theatricals going on in the opposition.
would you be hoping he'd like give you an old twist back? Like,
We might get an old turn out of him, yeah? You never know. He might be here, so I better be careful what I say.
no, if he was here, he'd have hit me already, Johnny.
But I suppose coming back to the original question, I suppose, is that you know, whether the split season is going to work or is it working. I suppose the whole thing is condensed. There's no point in saying otherwise. Like, you know, you could be out of championship in 4 or 5 weeks' time, and in actual fact, if you're beaten in the first 2 matches, you could be on the slippery slope fairly immediately. So that's, I suppose, that is, I suppose, an issue, I suppose, on the inter-county. But my personal view is, I think that the club season should be the first half of the season, and the inter-county should be the second half, because it gives the club player a chance to show their wares early on in the season. And like I would see it as being building up to the better competitions as the year goes on. So I don't think that's going to happen, because the inter-county manager, sitting amongst 3 former inter-county managers, you probably all wanted your own way, I would say, more often than not. And it was very difficult to, certainly, I suppose, being involved after the strikes in Cork when Donald O'Grady came in charge of Cork. There was no club player allowed play any club match for 6 or 7 months.
Did you approach him at one stage?
Well, that was a short approach, I can tell you. But it's, you know, I think the club needed the time that it deserves. And I think this is a protection for the clubs, because if we don't protect the clubs and the underage, you won't have an inter-county player down the road. So whether it's going to work or not, I think it's early days for me. But I do think the protection of the club is the most important thing, because that's where you nurture the talents that we have to show in inter-county afterwards. So without the club, you won't have the inter-county scene, and I think that's a good idea.
I got back involved with my own crowd. They're training tonight. I'm missing. I can't be giving out about too many. But like, we have a situation there now where we...
Did you let the lads go to the shooting rest day Thursday?
I did, and I'll tell you one thing. You want to see training Friday night? And Brian Russell, who's the manager, good guy now, straight guy, Pascal's son, so they'd be calling it straight. He'd say, no, training is on Thursday night. We're training. I said, Brian, we might want to leave this later on in the year. We might want to call at night of the 21st or something that everyone is training in the morning. He said, later on in the week, okay, we'll switch training to Friday night. You want to see training Friday night after the student race day? I'm not joking. Oh, Jesus Christ. I said to Niall Galvin, Keane's older brother, Niall, was there any point in you being here tonight? Not really, dead eyes. He wasn't holding back.
I was going to ask Marco the Dunkettle roundabout. What's the story? Just for the people travelling down. There's a big job going on there. So Sunday.
Got to Mitchtown Road.
Is it still one?
Worse.
Is it still one lane?
I said, look, TG, you can stroll down at any time yourself. You're All-Ireland champions. We'll roll out the red carpet.
Very good.
From my the whole ways down, right? Okay. All the lights will be green.
Grand.
All the way
Myself and TJ did a preview night out in Adair last week with Tomas McKay. It sounds the very same, lads.
And just
Anyone from Cork here, no?
Yeah. No.
Oh, you're on your own.
I'm on my own. I'm kind of used to that, like. You know? But coming back to Cork accents, I remember the year I made my debut. It was actually against Limerick in the Gaelic rounds, and I was picked to play right half back, and Mike Galligan was on me, and I was saying to myself, Jesus, how am I going to slow down this fella now? He was fairly lively, so. Anyway, the first ball came in and I slipped. For some reason, the ball ended up in my hand. I said, Christ in my own head, that's great. No, brilliant, great start. Now, have the first ball in the hand. Next one, McBoy. Without looking, shot the ball back into Barry Foley's hand. Straight over the bar, right? And I said, oh, what a start. I just looked at Foley and he goes, so, if there's any other Barry Foley out there, right?
That Patrick's well crowded do it to you.
Brilliant. So, fair.
Liam, your take on the new, like you're just out of it, cute enough, got
Yeah.
out in time, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, the league, how would you have treated it? I mean, the club situation, what I was going to say there, I got sidetracked about the student race there, which I meant. But I'm there with Clarecastle, like, we have 4 on the 20s. I know they could be gone Wednesday night. Hopefully they won't, because you robbed us last week. Carl O'Neill, Jesus. But we have 4, right? So 2 of them, fair enough, with goalie and centre-back. I have no problem with them missing county league games. But there's 2 that are not in the 26 and are not too near it, according to one of them himself. And yet they can't play county league games with us, like.
Yeah, but there's probably a view that they think they own, you know, the inter-county manager at all age groups probably think they own the player now that they have the split season. So that's probably how it's viewed. Say, look, they're with the county now and they go back to their clubs. I like the intertwining. Like I can remember we won the All-Ireland in 2010. And after the All-Ireland semi-final, they played the divisional finals, which are a big deal in Tip. And they played them the Sunday after. And I think it was the best thing we ever did, because they went back to their club. Like, we're playing 15 on 15 in an internal match. It is worse than any club match, like, you know. Yeah. So I like that format where they get a chance to go back and play with their club and come back in again. Because I think the inter-county player now, he's got to train, like, you're training 4 or 5 nights a week with inter-county, and you have to go back and you have to train 3 or 4 nights a week with your club. So, like, the inter-county player is really getting a raw deal, because before he trained, he done most of his training with his county team, and then he got a break. So, and even on a split season, like, if Tip were knocked out, they could be out by. So there'll be 2 teams in Munster, Tip and Clare, Dalo. They all probably think, is that fair to say? Yeah. We're probably we're having a fight for the wooden spoon. Yeah. So they're saying Tip and Clare could be out.
Went for Clare right in the Sunday game, but you didn't. You didn't go for Clare.
Come here, 22nd of May, and the championships in Tipperary won't start until the 3rd week in August.
This is the bit now that's where I think.
Like, I just don't see the merit in that, where you can't, like, if you do get knocked out, that in June and July you wouldn't go into Nina or down to Thurles and see really good club action and have it through the middle of the summer. So, you know, I don't see why we couldn't have went to the end of July and given it a little bit more time, because I think, you know, training right up and you get 2 weeks of a break if you're competitive in the league, 2 weeks of a break, go straight into championship. I think that's very narrow. And I think, you know, I get the point about 98% of our playing population, but actually the one that attracts all the attention and the one that actually gets kids mad about the game is going to Thurles or going to Innis or going to Cork or going to Limerick next weekend and getting to see your own county playing and seeing your heroes. So I personally would think we could have extended it a little bit and made it a little bit easier, because I don't, as I said, I think club players make a decision then maybe that they're going away. Some of our best club players could be playing in America over the summer. So I think it's a little bit narrow, and it's really hard for a manager because it's a really, really tight window. It's hard to manage. I'd say John Kiley might have been too disappointed that he got knocked out in the league, because he knew then, okay, I'm only one focus. He's the only thing in that man's mind is 3 in a row.
And probably coming in 3rd, so he likes to finish normally in the round robin.
But Liam, just on the club scene, so like in August, right? Like, what's happening in June and July? Like, is the football being played in Tipperary? Like what, you know, what's the cause of it going back that far? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I certainly know on the Cork side of it, like, we're in the first time we're into a league format, so your groups of 4, 3 matches.
Yeah.
So like they have a hurling match, a football match, and then 2 hurling, 2 football. So like they're I suppose, intertwining hurling and football during that period of time. We discussed it last year where Wexford had the hurling championship over 6 weeks or 2 months before the Leinster campaign. So I think a lot of it comes down to the individual counties as well as to how they play that championship afterwards. Like, you know, so I just, you know, again, like it's. I know you've a valid point about the young lads, like, but we saw from the live streaming that the club game took the country by storm, because there was a huge amount of numbers following matches. Like, we did live streaming matches in Cork with 24 and 25,000 people watching. I know it's nothing like 1 million people maybe watching a Munster final and stuff like that, but like 24,000 watching a live stream is a massive number of, and I know it was free by the Examiner and stuff like that, so that probably made it easier. But like, that's 24,000 hits. Like, I can remember my young fellow was, when he was 4, Matthew, Killa were playing at 1 o'clock, and we all met at home, and we had a breakfast, not a breakfast birthday for him, but there was 14 people sitting around watching the live streaming. And I looked at the 14 people, there would only have been 3 of them would have went to the match.
But I don't think extending it to the end of July would affect that. I mean, in Tip, they had 32 senior teams.
Yeah, that's a massive number.
And they still managed to get it finished. I think you could still have that, but I think having your flagship finals
over early,
a bit longer in, because as I said, there could potentially be no activity for kids to watch in Tipperary of meaningful from before the end of May right up to the 3rd week in August, which I think is the times you should be going in watching either your club or your county, but one of them.
Any out there lads have strong opinions? Colm, is there? I just think it's a huge issue. I've never seen such a change, and there was war on Twitter today after I got this thing. I said, I'm not so sure at this stage, and I would have voted for it at the time.
I wonder, would Liam agree with Mark's idea then to have the club game first in the split season?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I just think then that it flips. It's the same problem, because if you take all of you guys here and a lot of you playing with your clubs, right? Can you imagine if you were finished with your club the 3rd week of May? Then you've got no hurling in June, July and August, when are the real months when you want to be playing, when the grass is short and it's the summer evenings and the longer evenings. So it's a similar problem. Like, I think we all know what the problem is, was trying to find that solution, because even things like the Fitzgibbon Cup are getting squashed, Liam, into a very short space of time, not given the recognition it deserves. And in fairness, like this weekend, to ask Limerick turn around again 6 days, or ask a team to turn around within a week. Like, if you're unfortunate that you'd have an injury, like whatever it is, a hamstring or whatever, you could miss 3 rounds of the championship just in a space of 2 weeks. So it is very condensed, but trying to find the overall solution. The club game needs the recognition all over the country, because that's where most of the players are. But to consider a club being finished, senior team being finished and done and dusted the middle of May and parked up until the following year, that's nearly unforgivable. And then you're probably getting some club managers who are getting for quid. Dalo, you're getting paid for like that, no?
They wouldn't stay up there with that.
But then take a bob off your own.
Then you'll have club managers mad for road in November or whatever, trying to have you ready for the championship. So it's a very complex situation, and like a lot of team managers up and down the country, I know what the problem is, but I don't know what the solution is.
Yeah,
I just cut in there, Anthony. Just looking at the audience that we have here tonight, is there anyone playing currently? There's a couple of very young, fit-looking men and women here. Anyone? Hands up. Any players? We'll come on down here. We'll have a chat. There's a gentleman down here. I bet he's regretting that he put up his hand now. Stand up now in class. Oscar Elga. What's your name? Who'd you play with?
Johnny Keane. I'm probably one of the only Waterford men here tonight. So 3 of us here fighting the good fight behind enemy lines.
Did Liam Cahill send you down?
Just in relation to the conversation the lads are having about the split season, from your perspective, and you have a fantastic system in Waterford, and it was run off with military precision last year.
I'd have to agree with TJ there that, you know, you want to be playing your matches in the summertime, June, July and August, and I don't think flipping it is going to make much of a difference. That'd be my only opinion on it, really. I don't think. Yeah, that's about it from my end of it. Yeah.
Okay, Waterford man, covers blown. Okay, anyone else here from Limerick? Anyone that has any viewpoints on how the championship, the club player is treated?
Are you all just worried about your tickets from Michael Reardon? No? Okay, right. Dalo, back to you.
Okay, Colm, yeah. Look, I think we'll let the hair sit. It is what it is this year. It's going to pan out, and I think we could have a lot of loans from people on Sundays in August, loving if there was not Ireland semi-final on or that. You know, I think Ger Loughnane probably started the whole thing. He wouldn't let us play club, not a hope. He wouldn't let you train with your club, play with your club. And then while he was manager, 5 years in a row, the Clare champions won the Munster club. And people said to him, sure, you're ruining the club game. And Clare, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Every year I'm in charge, he says, Clare are winning the Munster club and 2 All-Ireland clubs. So, you know,
the good news is, Dalo, I think the round robin is a really, really good idea. I think that cut and trust 4 matches. Like, if you can't finish in the top 3 out of 5, and you get 4 matches, 2 of them at home, don't think you can have any complaints, you know. So, you know, I think that round robin system is really good. And I think, look, I don't think there'll be a few twists and turns in this championship, but I think we'll all look back. I think when we see the end of it, especially like the Munster Championship is going to be.
Well, the 2 years we had it, I think we were enthralled, weren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's fantastic. Like, I mean, and like, look, the people. Everybody wants to watch the best people. That's the reality. They want to watch the stars, and the more often you can get the stars out on television or go to see matches and stuff like that, that's what the punter wants at the end of the day. Like.
Yeah, and we have improved the toilets in Cusick Park as well. So, and the shop will be open.
But that's the handy shop.
That's the shop.
That's the handy shop.
There was a nice few quid discovered out of.
Yeah, it was just resting in the account, wasn't it?
Resting there. Yeah.
I'm looking for a stand ticket for Innes.
Oh yeah, we
talk to Pat.
I told you, of all the places in the country where I can get a ticket for Innes, in one of them. Yeah. I've a better chance of ringing Spike. Stop. Yeah. That is the reality.
Go back to your point about the 42 fellas that are on the Clare under 21 team and your 2 lads that can play. Like, I mean, how does that affect the club now? And like, would you have an interaction with the under 20 manager and say, listen, we have an important league match coming up at the weekend. Can you leave the 2 lads go? Like,
well, we've the 3rd goalie. He's the goalie for the 20s. So he's the 3rd goalie on the senior behind Ever Quilligan and the foodie lad from Mina. So, like, I think I'd be good mates with Brian Lohan now. We've been all over the world together, and we're still good pals. Like, so I said, we're playing the Mills in the cup, like, and Clare are not playing in the first round, obviously, with the draw. And I says, we're stuck for a goalie there tomorrow. Will you give us young Broderick there? So I just got a text back say, not a hope. I just didn't text back. I rang Brian Russell. I said, not a hope. Because Lohan, you know, when Lohan goes like that, like, that is that. Yeah. We won. The goalie did well. But I was going to say, it's a massive week, lads, for fellas that are going to play their first game in the championship for counties. It's a huge week in your life. My debut was in 1990 in the Gaelic Grounds against Limerick, and Limerick picked their team. At that time, you had a fair idea who you were marking.
So the team was announced probably on a Tuesday night, wasn't it?
Well, I trotted in anyway, cornerback, and to meet the bold, pat, beefy Heffernan, who we'd spent 4 years. He only came to Flannan's as his 3rd year. We'd spent 3 years together, and that time the Borders and Flannan's were kind of hungry, like. And we used to go back to study, a couple of us that were on the team. We'd go back and do a bit of study. It was the only way the mother could get you to do 3 hours. And the beef used to say to me, Dalo, we're going home for the dinner. And he says, you wouldn't ask the mother to put on a bit of a fry, would you? What do you want, beef? A sausage sandwich would be lovely. And there we were, going in marking him in the Gaelic Grounds, corner forward, and I looking at him to shake hands and kind of pushed him away. Fucking friends no more. And the Bishop Walsh, Father Willie Walsh as he was at the time, who had been our teacher in Flannan's, he says, here, call Willie for water there, will you? I'm gasping. Like. And I'm all confused this year, because I thought it was the corner back was supposed to put off the corner forward. Like, you know? But we all had the build up to those weeks, lads, weren't they? They were unique, and the nerves, and if you let down the family, that was the big thing. The club, let down the family. Stop. Yeah. Marco, you were fairly memorable.
Yeah, well, I suppose I was a late comer to it, Anthony. I would have played minor in 1990 when you were making your senior debut. We
You get a hearing him. I should have stayed selling pensions. I have a load of horses now.
So I told I was involved in the senior team in '91. Myself and Brian Sheehan got called in out of the minor panel. We were beaten by Kilkenny after a replay in the minor. And I tore my cruciate. And back then in '91, like, you had no medical staff whatsoever with the team. So the minute you were injured, you were gone and never heard of again. So I had a very good campaign in McKilla, which was 1995. So that was 4 years later. That was junior. And then in McKillie, who were the divisional team in East Cork at the time. So if you were a junior or an intermediate hurler in certain parts of the county, so there were divisions, we had 6-7 divisions, you could play with the senior team, which was in McKillie. So went to the county senior final in '96, beaten after replay by Evan Dew. Went to the county final in '97 and '98. But I was involved with the Cork intermediates in '97. Came across your brother, little fecker, I can tell you. But anyway,
old, too slow.
Too old, too slow, too far. I'll tell that later.
Didn't get much of you.
Well, I tell you, I was actually dropped for the match. So I was spitting fire. I was brought on after 18 minutes, and the first I ran into was Don. He was bearing down in goal, and for some reason I came out of the clouds and hit him a right welt, man ball and all into the stand. And Donny said it to me there a couple of weeks ago, and I said, I didn't forget that. No, kid, I still owe you one. So that was '97. We won the intermediate, and in '98 I got involved, and I suppose so I was a bit more experienced. I suppose I had a bit of age on my side, and I was hurling well, and I suppose that's 27 or 28 years of age. I'd say okay. The biggest problem on the lead up to the debut was tickets for the family. That was the most important thing. Could you get good tickets? Could you get enough tickets? And it was so stressful. That was the biggest problem. And after that day, never again did I go looking for tickets. I just let somebody else take care of it, because
Were you very bad?
Huh?
Were you very bad?
Well, I stayed on for the whole 70 minutes, and I ended up marking Gary Kirby at the end of the game, and we won. So I was happy enough. But of course, he put us to the sword a couple of weeks later. And that was
you were marking a good buddy of mine there that day, were you? The bold
fingers
O'Connell by with the hair. I can't do the hair bit. I can do the walk.
It's a bit like the lights there now, right? Okay, it was a balmy, hot, sunny day, like, you know. And I'm looking into it, and all I could see was on the tiptoes, the tash and the hair coming, right? So I was going, and I said, I better go out and shake this man hand. And I went out and shook his hand. Next one, bang, straight into the fucking pussy head bob.
He never did that, come here.
Unfortunately, a little bit of instincts took over, so I said, bang, straight into the puss. Next of all, I looked out to the sideline, Johnny McDonald with the fucking flag.
Sound Tipperary, man.
Here I am. I said, I'm gone. The match hasn't even started. I'm going to get a red card.
You weren't worried about the good tickets for fucking Manny and Daddy.
So I'm saying to myself, how am I going to explain this to the family, to the club, to the manager, right? So next of all, do I need to roll back to how I meet Johnny McDonald?
Oh yeah, go on.
Right. So just to put it in context, I saw the white flag going up. I said, I'm going to get straight red here and now. But the previous Wednesday night, Tomas Mull and myself were in Nina, launching the Nina Championship. That, I suppose, was Cork and Limerick Savings Bank or Permanent TSB was sponsoring it at the time. I met Johnny McDonald for the first time.
Lucky
I had a
man.
good chat with him. So roll on to Sunday anyway. Johnny runs out to the referee. 12 clear, yellow card. Cork fella, no problem. So I did a Barry Foley. Thanks, Johnny.
I say fingers is happy enough too.
I said that.
John, sound for that, Johnny.
Yeah.
Brilliant. TJ, who'd you make your debut against?
Cork, 94, wet day at the Gaelic grounds.
Limerick Cork.
Same Beefy scored 2 brilliant goals.
Wet day.
Gerard Cunningham was going out to puck out the ball out wide, and Beefy had it flicked in over his head. I'm not sure if you remember it.
We were there watching. We were in the final.
Yeah. That's right. How did that final go? Yeah, Tom, it was.
We're coming out wave and making up for the 2 years this year in July.
Okay.
And they have T-shirts on us. What year are you waving?
Oh, Dalo. Come on, come on. We're gone.
Yeah. I didn't start this. It's like Monday morning, you're dying.
Yeah.
Except you're home on the screen.
But 94 in Lorraine, I suppose I was blessed that was the first year I happened to be on the panel.
young.
Yeah, young fella. And just blessed to come into a team with the likes of Houlihan, Kieran Carey, Jerry Egerty, Gary Kirby, just a brilliant Limerick team. And
look, I'm having flashbacks going.
I know, yeah. We shagged up a couple of matches there, but great Munster Championship. We came across Liam as well and against Tip in the 90s as well. And look, I suppose a lot of teams had their successes in the 90s, and we had won 2 great Munster Championships and made a balls of 2 All-Irelands. But look, that's a story for another day. But I would, like, a bit like Loughnane, like I came across Tom Ryan for the first time as a very young fella, and like probably in my lifetime there was probably 3 fellas who frightened the shit out of me, right? One was my first boss, Pat Ring. I was afraid of my life of him, still am even, right? 2 was my old fella, he still gives me the shivers today every now and again when the phone rings and it's him kind of saying, right? And the 3rd one was Tom Ryan. I was afraid of my fucking life of him, right? To be honest, he didn't say a whole lot, right? And like, it was like, you talk about communication and management today, the young fellas today would have no chance with Tom, because he'd tell you nothing, right? He wouldn't even tell you if we were playing or not, but when he did speak, like, right, jeez, he'd go straight through you, and it was rough at times. There was no political correctness, let's say. Let's just say, when you were bad, you were told.
A lovely bit of Limerick camp. Stop. Liam, a lot of people don't know like that you were a converted centre forward as an under-21 and scored 10 points off Mike Houlihan. I'm going to say it again, 10 points off Mike Houlihan.
You were lucky to survive that one.
I was. Liam, why weren't you rushed straight in at centre forward on the senior team?
I was actually working in CE at the time, inside Limerick, so it was a good morning towards, well, it could have been Friday morning when we got back in. But yeah, sure, Leahy was playing midfield, so Leahy just soloed through. Mike would go to Leahy, he'd hand pass me the ball, and simple enough, I'd put it over the bar. So yeah, it was a good day in the office. We won the most final, give Limerick a right hiding. But myself and Mike met a good few times. We had a sort of a relationship that meant every time we marked each other, there was generally a bit of fireworks. I remember my first, that was 90, and I was called in. I was after being dropped, because Tip won the All-Ireland 89. When I was called in, we won the 21 in 89, and we also won the junior. So we had 2 All-Irelands in the bag, and I was called in on the panel, but let go fairly quickly afterwards. I'm back, and I was moved from corner back up to centre forward because we didn't have many forwards, so I was on Mike. But that was in 1990, but in 97, we were playing Limerick in a league match here. I was on Barry Foley, actually. I didn't hand pass him the ball, so it was okay. The rubber was all right. But Houlihan was down. He was midfield, but Kevin Tucker was wing forward from Nina. So Mike Houlihan, there was a bit of a schmozzle on the side, and Mike Houlihan ran and buried Kevin, flew him over. Of course, I took off, and I could hear Lynn Gaynor telling me, go back, go back, go back. But I had moved at that stage, and I wasn't for stopping. So I went down, and I turned him upside down with a shoulder. And I got a yellow card for it. But Lynn Gaynor said, no, Liam, he says, in training Tuesday. I said, no, Liam, you're a lucky man, you could have got the line there. But I was fucking delighted that you went down. Yeah, and we opened the pitch in Portroe, it was 2 weeks before the league final in 99. We were playing Galway in the league final in 99. And Seven Shane O'Neill, we're going out for a cash ball. We pulled, but Mike Hurley flew up and he got cut. Shane, the former Galway manager, so he went off with a blood injury. But Mike came from full forward out centre forward. But of course, he couldn't come out and just walk out past me. No, he absolutely littered me on the way out. So if he did, I turned around and gave as good as I got. And I was told, come on, you have enough, come out the side. So we as I said, any time we met, we're probably lucky that Portroe never met Kilmallock in the club championship, because he definitely would have killed me, I'd say. He was a hardy boy.
Yeah, I wasn't hardly afraid of anyone like TJ's Tree. I was afraid of Hula.
Yeah.
Straight out, I was afraid of Hula.
And actually, in 99, when we played G in the replay, because myself and Fingers, we marked each other in 97 All-Ireland. And as you said, he'd bowl down to you. But in 99, I think he had finished. And we had heard that he was above in juries in, I think.
Oh, Fingers?
Yeah. He was on the first day. I don't think he togged the first day. He was above in juries in having pints. And anyway, you were 10 pints up in the replay, below in Parky Queeve. Next thing, who strolls in across? Hey, bet you never thought you'd see me here today.
I swear to God, I think things were so bad. We were so lucky to get the draw that day. I think they sent for him, like,
Yeah.
where was he? He came in training Tuesday
Yeah.
night. Well, how things must be bad. I'm back. What a character, like, what a brilliant character. Like, we were lucky enough to win 2 All-Irelands. Like, as Tomas Mulcahy gave it to me there the other night, he says, "Geez, you're still on about those 2 All-Irelands." He says, Teddy Mack won 2 in a fortnight, like, so, like. But fingers, like, you'd leave the dressing room, right, and he wouldn't get onto the bus, and you'd meet him in some den of iniquity around Tuesday or Wednesday. So the thing was still going on. You'd say, "Well, how'd the few days go?" "Mighty."
Look, Nan tells a great story after '99 because he said he felt that the Clare team at that time was coming to the end of its run, like. So after the beaten Tip, obviously he had a great relationship with Tip. He loved beating Tip. So he said, "You know what?" He says, "We won't get in the bus." He said to Constantine, "Come on," he says, "we'll walk up to the hotel. We'll actually take in the crowd on the way up anyway." So he's walking up along, and next thing he sees this Tip fella coming for him. And he says to Constantine, "Oh, jeez, I'm in trouble here now anyway." Next thing down comes a man, and he says, Gerard, can I have your autograph?" And you're, "Oh," he says, "No bother at all." So he signed it. "I can't wait to give it to the wife. She fucking hates you."
Brilliant.
Yeah, that one, And the following year, we had a good run against, eventually, Loughnane's last match, 2000.
Yeah.
Like that, place wedge, but you beat the shite out of us. And bus was going nowhere, so I remember saying to people, "We'll walk up, will we?" We were the grub was in the Imperial, but we didn't hardly make the Imperial at all. We stayed in Cork anyway, that's all I remember about it. But we're walking up along, and it was with Brian Lowe and Nolly Baker, the 3 of us walking up along. And next thing, this Tip car comes along, and they're stuck in traffic. And you know the way I know, like, they had the flag hanging down over the boot, the flag hanging down, and there was Tip ball covered, painted blue and yellow. And they pulled up beside us, like, and we were walking away, head down, glanced at them, all right, like, "No, thanks," like, and next thing, the big lad in the front seat, passenger side, down the window and out, "And now they're making ye walk home." I said, "Wait, I'm giving you that one now, keep going." Or we'll join you in the car. Oh, yeah, but you have to laugh too, like, you just had to laugh. Yeah. They booze, and there's a lot of lads, like, I'm thinking of fellas like Christopher Joyce, maybe Darrell Leary, Carl O'Neill, Shane Meehan, next couple of weeks. Who else?
Craig Morgan,
James Quigley.
Corach Daly. Good player.
Yeah, big weeks for those guys, so it's amazing.
That under-20 rule is got me too, with the GA, like, stopping Colony. Like, fine, he could still play with the seniors, like, but he shouldn't be stopped playing with your own age group. I don't think at any sport you shouldn't be stopped playing with your own age group. Like, work your way around it. If you have to play 2 games Wednesday and Sunday, that's fine. That just happens to be part and parcel of it. But they shouldn't be stopped playing with your own age group.
I think players love the TJ, the under-21s.
I just think you have to play with your own age group. Like, let's say if he only happens to have a very short inter-county career, let's say, or some player like Colin, he'll be fine, he'll make it. But let's say 1 or 2 players get 2 minutes or 3 minutes, a senior, and they're stopped playing the last year at under-20. It's just a wrong rule, I think.
Well, it happened with Alan Connolly last year. Right?
Yeah.
The seniors were playing championship, and they brought him on in the 68th minute. We were 7 or 8 points down, which ruled them out for the following weekend against Tipperary, I think, on the Wednesday night. Yeah. Like, again, I have a big bugbear with management in terms of making those decisions. I think it's selfish. I think they played him so that he couldn't be available for the under-20. So, no, I think this rule needs to be changed. It needs to be taken away. It was a football rule that actually first came in, and then it became prominent on the hurling side. So,
what's the reason for Liam? Is it to do with fixtures?
I have no idea.
Burnout.
I know, but honestly, it makes no sense for to take away playing under 20. And if you get knocked out, can you go back, or are you done? If you play
back when the inter-county team is out, you're back available at 21.
Even more bananas.
Yeah.
Like, what? Limerick are through now, I'd say, after beating Clare or Robbery last week, but like, Cahill now can play in the senior match, but he can't go back there and play for the 20s. But when Limerick then don't make the 3 in Munster,
all right,
he'll be available in a
few weeks.
Yeah. That's the gist of it there now.
Yeah.
Well, but it's a mad rule.
It's mad. Terrible rule. Terrible. Like, why did we change from 18 and 21 anyway? Would we agree with that? Yeah, I mean, I think, and Why
Was
can't
it
we
exam
change back?
related?
'Cause
Was it exam
yeah,
related?
is it?
Was it exam related? No.
A bit
Was
to do with it,
initially, but now everyone, all
They're
students
all
are
19
doing,
years
they're
of age
doing
now.
transition years. So they're all.
I wonder,
like
could
the
you
Harty
move-
Cup is under 19 now. Like,
Could you move the leaving cert?
come move to leave. Well, I remember saying in the Kilmacud Crokes clubhouse one night, and take the leaving fairly serious up there now. I tell you, a lot more serious than we took it anyway, the four of us. But that didn't stop you getting big jobs, of course. But
Actually, there was
dragged into the bank.
There was a great story with the leaving cert in the Piercing boys. It was in the front of the leader there. I think it was like Downsy and Dowling and a few more of the boys were on the front of the leader about what do you need. The results were coming out, right? So Downsy had said that he wanted to go teaching or whatever. He needed 450 points, right? And then they got into the second fella, he needed 470 or 80 points. And the third fella said, I need 440 points, right? And then they went to Shane Dowling and goes, I need a miracle.
But it's like this. Unbelievable, yeah. We wish all those guys, I think, the very best of luck. There's a few lads around the county it'll be.
Well, like you look at Kieran Joyce, who'll probably make his debut, I would say, at the weekend, and Darragh O'Leary would more than likely make it. Like, they actually are still under 20, and they have 220 All-Irelands in their back pockets, and they're still underage. Like, for that, like, imagine how good they would be for the current under 21 team. And so, from our point of view, we need to keep building those underage successes and trying to bring them through then to the senior team, like, you know.
Big thing for the two boys, Mark, does they won't have to face Peter Casey, and what we're hearing, they won't have to face Shemmy Flanagan either.
And is Garrod Hegarty available? Is his suspension over, is it?
That's up.
All right, okay, sorry.
Yeah, it goes back.
Okay.
He was embarrassed, he said today in the paper.
Did he say that today?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, he'd need to go to confession.
Like, and we'll get on to the matches in a while, Liam.
I just...
Craig Morgan. Sorry, Colin, 1 second now.
Sorry.
Normally you ring me and you say, and he signed a piece.
I thought you wanted the half time in the minor match, but if you don't, that's fine.
We'll go to 1 second. But Liam, from your point of view, James Quigley's likely to make his debut. Craig Morgan, they could be facing Desi, Stevie Bennett, and possibly Ozzy atop of the left, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's a daunting enough prospect. And in fairness to Colin, like, you know, Paddy Maher's a huge loss. Jamie Callan, even for their presence. But like Craig Morgan, he's a really good player. Like, he was brilliant for Tip in underage, and this is his second year in there now. So year 3. So he's in there a while.
Yeah.
James Quigley's in there for 2 or 3 years as well. So, but you know, anytime you go out and step into that, and especially, you know, I'd say Waterford will come with force after winning the league. Like, you could feel the euphoria building in the stadium last start of the week. Like,
I was going to say, Liam, if you're still over the team now, right? Carl Barrett's coming to face Ozzy. Before the ball's thrown in, what happens? Is he talking to him like, or
you're always thinking like that, aren't you?
I'd encourage him to have a welcome pack. You could bring 2 or 3 things. Yeah, but you know, I think like getting the matchups right is going to be huge, because, like, you know, Stephen Bennett, like, he's been remarkable in the league. Like, he's just incredible, and he's deceptive because you think he's not fast, but like the goal he got when he caught, he had a bit to do when he caught the ball, and it still went in. So, but, you know, whether they might send Ronan after Stephen Bennett, they might send Cahill after Desi. No, we still have 15. I think Tip, in some ways, you know, the boys are going to take the story back now anyway. So, but in some ways, Tip are coming in so far under the radar. Like, I mean, you know, most times when Tip play Watford, there's not a whole pile in it.
You hammer them. What are you talking about?
Well, we won't go that far. But I think, you know, it could be a bit closer maybe than people think. But if Waterford get it going, yeah, and they get 6 or 7 up, you'd fear for us.
Okay, we'll come back to that. Colin, Fogra, minor match.
Okay, yeah, half times, Dalo, Tip and Clare 8 points apiece. And in the Cork-Limerick game, Cork 2-12, Limerick 1-7. And Sweden and the Republic of Ireland and the women 1-1, full-time score.
Okay, lads, if anyone has Joe McKenna's number there, give him a ring. I'm back in the academy. Things have gone to pot down here, I tell you. I'm available, like, you know. So, yeah, Tip and Clare would draw, yeah. That's
draw match,
good.
Dalo.
Yeah, not too bad. And after being beaten 40 points by that famous Cork team last year, we thought we'd never have a team again. But see, the 20s, it's amazing young lads, like, they will develop and they will come on.
Yeah, we've lost a massive player during the week, like.
You did, to
Ben
rugby.
O'Connor. He was the real deal, like, you know, centre back in the minor team last year, and, you know, 6'3", 6'4", built accordingly, mobile, and a very, very good hurler. So,
serious centre back, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he's a good player. It's something that we're probably looking for at the moment, like, and And look,
What's the story there, Mark? Is it a contract thing or a schools thing?
No, the rugby just insists that you can't play any other sports. Simple as that.
That is the Offaly County Board.
Well, sure, this fella was 18 years old.
If anyone just gets back to Dynan, we don't mean to, Mikey.
Were they under 14? Did that happen then, is it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we get to that as well.
Right, okay.
Right, Ben O'Connor, when we was playing full-back, Mike Donoghue cornerback for Limerick, right? And let's say Ben O'Connor from Newtown would have been potentially one of his markers. You'd be there the week of the match. Mac would be talking about, I'm picking up Ben Connors.
Ben Connors.
That's who used to refer to him as Ben Connors.
This is Stevie Mac.
Yeah.
Jesus, another treacherous. I remember we were going in playing you in the challenge match one evening. It was look, Nan and Tom Ryan used to organise some challenge matches. Like, Jesus,
we had a challenge match against Clare. We actually had a challenge match against Clare in August of '96.
And you out bullying. Yeah. It was organised. I remember going up playing.
How did you manage to play us? That was blowing Ennis. It was a good bit of timber. There was loads of right time we played G, there was timber.
But remember, we did to play one night. This challenge match arranged between the league and the championship, like, and you were obviously on one side of Munster, we were on the other. So Gilligan was likely to be top of the left, Niall, and McDonough was always 2. So I said, "Hi, you better stand up for yourself here." And this fella, like, because he walked down, if he thinks. The match went on 3 minutes. The 2 were down the ground, boxing their heads up. Jesus, Gilly, I said, you took it to new extremes here. But, yeah.
Actually, before we go from McDonough, there's one more great story. We were in Thurles. We were playing Waterford the same day, right?
A lot of topics here. We're not going to get to.
We get to this is the end of it now, right? But I was full back. McDonough was 2 and Rala was 4. Quite enough full back line. So, anyway, we were marking Owen Kelly, Paul Flynn, and John Milan. Think about that, right? But Mac was marking John Milan inside in the corner, but a row broke out way out the field, nothing to do with us, right? It broke out about maybe 50, 60 yards out past midfield, right? So row breaks out, so Milan goes to take off, right? As he goes to take off to go into the row, right? McDonough catches him by the shoulder, he goes, "John, plenty of it here if you want it." That's his back.
Very good. Very good.
No, sorry, go on, drive on.
Ah, brilliant. What did Muller say? Muller just took one look and said, No. Oh, Jesus. Brewery. Oh, Jesus. Well, obviously, lads, just to broaden it out a tiny bit, and looking forward to the weekend. And of course, we have a few great examples of it here, with your men scoring 10 points, and I had him down for a wing-back, cornerback. Wildcards, Owen Cadigan of this parish, who we'll have Thursday night in Cork, has predicted, well, he didn't predict it, but he said if he was Kieran Kingston, he'd put Mark Coleman straight up at 11 for the weekend. And there's been some mad stories like back over the years of making that move. Maybe it's a bit drastic now, 2 weeks between the league final and the first round against Limerick, but there's been great stories. Obviously, one of the most famous bashers of streakers when he went back full back is here beside me. Obviously, marked in for years in the forwards, then he went back full back. You were kind of vicious when you went back full back, don't you? You were lovely, lad, above the forwards.
That was kind of a horror up there, right? Yeah. Got a bit angry. Fullbacks kind of, I don't know whether it suited me or not, but your tendency was, I just wanted to get the revenge in first and then see what happened after that. Like, yeah. But I don't know, it was kind of an old style. Remember back in them times, like 15 and 15 lined out, the big full forward stayed full forward, and the ball was coming in long, like,
A lot of talk about Limerick's disciplinary worries at the moment, like, but if we go back far enough, I suppose, like, you had a few issues there with that sort of thing yourself.
I did. Like, I suppose a couple of days I was blessed, and we were talking about referees and some of the stuff that maybe we got away with back in the 90s and into the 90s. Raf was showing me a couple of videos. I was kind of warning him there earlier on that he didn't show them tonight, but one or two things that you definitely wouldn't be proud of, and if I did them today in 2022, I'd say to be closer to jail now rather than 2 or 3 games. I'd say. I wouldn't be proud of him, like,
Jonathan O'Callaghan, lad from
the poor fella, and Jesus.
Yeah.
He didn't say what to you, like.
I didn't say what.
You know what I mean?
No.
I wouldn't let him down as a street fighter, no.
I got a clip in the tooth there, and my tooth knocked out, like, and I was finishing.
I see that, Sean. But it was a false tooth.
People were talking about referees, and in fairness, I give out to plenty of referees. My favourite referee of all time would be Seamus Roach from Tipperary. Yeah. I was captain of Limerick the same day, playing against Cork, Pro John O'Callaghan, drew a belt. Seamus comes in, we had a little conversation. Great when you get him talking. When the referee starts talking, you're in business. But if he comes in and flashes the red, you know you're gone, you get no chance. But we got him talking, and I said to him, Sean's got a bit in the tooth there. And I was captain the same day, a couple of minutes, a bit like what you were saying about being embarrassing. Yeah, definitely one of the days I could have got the role.
We got it there, Ref, have we? I think we have a bit of footage of
This isn't good, no, lads.
yeah, it's nice to know the real people you have on stage as well and what they're capable of doing, like, you know. Have we got it, Ref? We have.
Punish. Joe Dean is inside. The referee blows his whistle. And from where the ball landed, there was a foul on McCarthy as he delivered the ball. And TJ Ryan has now got involved with Jonathan O'Callaghan right in front of the referee. Jerry Hennebrey and Peter Moore are the umpires. And called ashore here to the referee is the captain, TJ Ryan. He could well see red here. It's a yellow card. There you have it. TJ Ryan should have been sent off.
Padjo, wasn't it?
The referee is coming out to have words now with TJ Ryan. Calling the Limerick captain to himself, and then John Gardner being called. Yeah, it could be a yellow card per player here.
And the big game for Eamon Morris, well enough from Dublin, like this will be a huge occasion for him, so he's going to lay down the law early, and he's dead right.
So that's a couple of yellow cards handed out. Just 3 minutes into the game there. Goodness me.
I will have you know.
Conscious that we're on before the threshold as well.
Yeah. I will have you know, I was never sent off playing for Limerick.
Yeah. When you were in the forwards, you used to have a red helmet.
Yeah.
But you put on that black one when you were back in the backstand.
I think you must have brought red helmet or something. But I was going to ask you, were you ever sent off playing in the county, no?
Once.
You see, no?
Once.
Were you, Mark?
Minor.
What'd you do?
Nothing.
I was the same.
The ball came in high, hit the crossbar, and I turned around. The ball came back out of the crossbar, pulled on it, connected on it. The back turned these back to me, got him with the tail of the hurley down the back, threw himself down. Damien Martin, who was the goalkeeper for Offaly at the time, was the umpire. Pádraig Horn was the referee. Damien Martin called him in. Cockfless struck the Derry like in an All-Ireland semi-final. Got a month.
Missed the final.
Frank.
Frankie boy.
Frank's your man. Frank's the man. Tuesday night, come up to the office, we must write a little letter. Handwritten. Apology, blah, 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 blah. Signed. Sent it off to Crow Park. 3 or 4 days later, you'll be okay for the final.
No chance.
This is one
Have
we
you
needed to win
frankly-
one since he's gone.
Yeah. So, yeah, once only.
Yeah, David Cuddy, Leash. We were both playing him in a league match. And I was going up in the car with Paul Delaney. And the conversation was, when was the last time somebody was sent off for tape? The conversation we had going up in the car. And they had a free, but he was coming in. And I was facing him, but he hit me a little tap in the goalies. And reaction. But Shawnee McMahon at Clare was refereing the match.
Oh, Jesus.
Big Christie was the umpire beside Cummins. But there was no one at the match, so you could hear it more so than see it, because the ball was pucked and I caught it on my own and cleared it back down the field, but I got the tap. Yeah. So the brother had to write the letter in Irish and secretly. I think he got suspension half, so it wasn't too bad. But
Thank God I never got involved in any of that stuff. Just to go
never got caught.
First to the ball and clear the ball. And that was it. You need to be resorting to any of those verbals. or
Raph,
anything
you
like
surely have 1 or 2 pieces of him flaking it.
that. But lads, there's been some great stories. We think back of Brian Whelan with the flu in '98. No, they shouldn't have been in the final, obviously, but going up with the flu and getting 1-4. Pat Fox, savage example. Brian Corcoran, another one.
Shelley was the big one for us, in '99. I remember we were inside training one night, and next thing Nicky said, he's an all-star cornerback, and Nicky says, I put him up, and I can remember his conversation was, turn, go with the ball, and when you're just about to hit the net, kick it. That was the coaching for him, but he was a revelation up there. And the first league match we tried it, he was named to play cornerback below against Kilkenny down in Nolan Park. First down to the league, the ball wasn't thrown in. Ball went in, Shelley caught it, put it over the bar, and Ken O'Shea was marking me corner forward. He said, "Jeez," he says, "you must have had a force in him for the first score." He says, "You'll be cleaning up tonight." But he He troubled Brian Lohan. There's not too many troubled Brian Lohan on the edge of the square. It was a master stroke at the time.
The thing with Shelley is he'd deceptive pace.
Oh yeah.
He was quick over at 10 yards and he was so strong then and so aggressive. He troubled. Fitzy made the best save I ever saw Fitzy making was that 99. But it was the best save he ever made. The Leahy one was more important than 97, but that was the
Okay, that'll do now.
Okay.
I had true story about Paul Shelley. When I was corner forward, I marked Paul Shelley when he was corner back, right? And then he was a tough nut to crack, right? And then when I got moved back full back, he got moved up full forward.
That's a fact. That was a full-time job.